The other thing that's genius about this is Emma's signaling, okay, I don't care about this game right now.
Yep.
I care about winning a World Cup in a year.
Yeah.
I also care about winning a World Cup in 5 years.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Caitlin.
Hi, I'm Alex.
And this is Raising the Game, a women's sports podcast covering primetime performers, the business behind the athletes and leagues, and what the growth of women's sports means for the next generation of women's athletes.
We're back this week. We've got quite a bit to handle here. We've got WNBA preseason starting up.
Yep. Training camp started yesterday as of the time of this recording.
Yep. We have U.S. Women's National Team just finished their 3 games against Japan.
Yep. We're going to talk all about that.
And I think we've got a few other things in our what to watch.
Yeah,
PWHL is
coming down to the wire.
Coming out of the wire
final
here.
Playoff spot in the PWHL. Regular season ends on Saturday.
Yep.
And then we had some finals over the weekend. NCAA college gymnastics and LOVB.
Yep.
The League One volleyball.
Yeah, that's right.
Championship happened over the weekend too. So we'll get into all of that and more over the course of the next little bit here with all of y'all. But before we dig into headlines, you had a favorite thing?
I do. You went to pick up the equipment for the soccer team that you were coaching for our eldest's team, and she was so excited for the jerseys and like she was excited for that. She seems really excited to start. Like she is talking about it constantly, getting all her equipment ready. It's really fun to watch her get excited about that and getting to watch you coach her team.
It's been many years since I've coached rec soccer. So mom's gonna have to figure out how to pull the competitor
pull it back a little bit. Yeah.
Looking forward to that with her and giving back, kind of like helping the next again, like the next generation.
Yeah, for sure.
Young girls. My favorite thing, man, I mean, it was probably watching that third game for the national team on Friday. They looked so solid.
Yeah.
It was kind of like everything sort of clicked. I think Emma Hayes has been running with her like Michelin star chef analogy. And so she was like, we were able to like kind of put out the full courses of the meal. And that was really exciting to see. I gotta say though, watching the LOVB final with your dad.
Oh yeah.
Alex's parents were in town this weekend, and he was getting pretty into the game. We were admiring the skill and like athleticism of the ladies playing, but also learning along the way. Like I can't tell you how many times I like used my phone to look up
the rules.
What's the rule? Well, something about the rules or something about the league. So that was pretty cool. We always love sharing like some of these maybe lesser known leagues or lesser known sports with potentially new fans.
Yeah, exactly.
So, all right.
Let's dive into this. Yeah, let's take a look here. A'ja Wilson signs $5 million 3-year deal with Las Vegas Aces, the largest contract in women's professional basketball history.
Yeah, the bags keep coming for these ladies. Under their new CBA deal. I think we'll talk a little bit in our WNBA segment, but the Aces also were able to re-sign the point guard, Chelsea Gray, Jackie Young, and Jewell Loyd, who were like their core 4 from a starter's position last year of the team that won the championship. So they are definitely on my who to watch list, along with a few other teams we'll talk about a little bit.
2026 WNBA draft draws 1.5 million average viewers, second only to the 2024 draft when Caitlin Clark was the number 1 overall pick.
Yeah, so I think this is interesting. Viewership peaked at about 1.8, 1.9, up 20% year on year. And I think this is just tracking the same way that so many of the other things we're seeing in the W, but across women's sports, right? There's just like more interest. Something that was really interesting to me in the article I read about this was that the top the draft, excuse me, was the top program on ESPN that
Mhm.
night that it aired among male identified
All
adults
right.
ages 25 to 54.
Okay.
So that's really fascinating too. I think we often will hear this refrain of like, well, yeah, women are watching the women's
Yeah.
sports. And it's like,
Men are
no,
watching too.
there's a lot of guys that are
Yeah.
really, you hear this a lot with like the there's a lot of men who frankly say the basketball is
Yeah.
better product or like more true to the game,
Yeah. Yep.
maybe
Yep.
not a better product. They're very different products, right?
Yes, very much.
So I think that's cool.
Yeah. WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert indicates the league is looking to stage international games as soon as 2027.
So this is really interesting. We talked last week when we were kind of diving into that Deloitte Game Changers report
Yep.
about the growth of games globally, right?
Yeah.
And so you see mostly domestic league. Obviously now we have the Toronto Tempo
Yep.
as part of the WNBA, but start to want to expand that footprint and get exposure outside of, primarily the United States. So
Yeah.
cool to see.
Oklahoma women's gymnastics takes home the national title trophy over a stacked field in the Final Four on the floor, earning their second title in a row and 4 in the last 5 years.
Yeah, just like sheer dominance.
Crazy.
And they won over like it said their stacked field. Really fun to see.
Shout out to Minnesota making it in.
The 13th seed making it to the Final
almost a Cinderella
Four.
story there.
Right. One thing I do want to comment on that I was reading when it was happening, when the final was happening on Threads, people were getting really pissy about the coverage because ESPN, for whatever reason, so if you've ever watched a gymnastics meet,
Mm-hmm.
especially when there's 4 teams competing at once, there is always somebody going.
Yeah, it's constant.
And usually there's 2 athletes going in some level of overlap. So like in reality, if you're broadcasting, you should almost never not have somebody going on screen. And they do split screen and things like that. And people were mad because I think for the Gophers, I think there were turns. So when they're doing a certain element, right, where you're supposed to have 6 athletes go, and you'd see 1 on the broadcast. And so there's a lot of calls for like, you got to clean this up, like even it out. So interesting.
The bummer. LOVB Austin clinched back-to-back championships in golden set match win over LOVB Salt Lake in front of a sellout crowd.
Yeah, this was like I said, learned so much about this. They play a 2-match, like, I don't know, it's not a tournament, but like it's 2 matches. You don't just play 1 match for the championship. And Salt Lake had won the first match on Thursday. So they came in kind of ahead. If they had won the match, they would have won the championship.
Yep.
Austin was down. Like they went down 2-1, had to win that 4th set. They did. And then they ended up winning the 5th set to force what's called a golden set.
Okay.
So then they play 1 set to 15 to determine the champion.
That's crazy.
And they just owned them. So they kind of turned it on there. But this was Madison Skinner is like the big kind of star player on Austin.
Is she the one that's also part owner of Austin?
I don't know.
Or is that a
for
different?
Sure.
Okay,
I'd have to look that. No, I thought that was with the Omaha team.
Yeah, I think it might be Omaha.
This is like her 4th championship in 6 years between college because they won, like Alex said, back to back for Austin, and then she was at Kentucky and Texas and won national titles there.
Crazy.
So she was, if you ever want to watch somebody really good at volleyball,
right?
Go watch her. This is crazy.
U.S. women's national team ends 3-game series against Japan with emphatic 3-0 victory after a gritty 1-0 defeat in midweek.
Yep, we'll talk about these in a little bit here.
In other international women's football competition, England took down world number 1 Spain in the quest for 4 early birds to the 2027 Women's World Cup.
And when Alex said early birds, he meant early bids.
Early bids.
Early bids.
Yeah, I put an R in there.
Yeah. we'll talk a little bit about the different qualifiers, which teams have qualified for the World Cup and what's remaining to go. What's interesting in Europe is the top 16 ranked teams in UEFA, so the European Federation, they play in what's called League A pools, and they play in these 4 League A pools, and the winner of each of those pools advances.
Okay.
And then the remaining teams from those League A pools drop down to play the teams from the B and C pools in another round of tournament. So like you really save yourself a lot of stress and anxiety by winning these pools. And England now is ahead of Spain in their pool. We're halfway through, so there's still 2 more games to play. Germany and Denmark also won over the weekend in their pool, the respective pools. And I think the Dutch are at the top of the 4th one. So definitely an interesting breakdown. Lots more to go for qualifying the rest of 2026 here.
PWHL playoff picture: Titans heading into the final week of regular season play with Montreal locking up the number 1 seed, Boston with the number 2, and Minnesota with the 3rd seed. With a battle for the final playoff spot between 3 teams going down to the wire. I have a small breakdown in the what to watch, so we will talk about it.
Okay.
PWHL surpasses 1 million fans in-person game attendance for the first time.
So I was just reading about this, and it sounds like they did this in 46 games less than what they had projected.
That's crazy.
So they obviously run these projections, and we talked about a couple weeks ago, maybe it was even last week, about Stan Kasten, one of the advisory board members. And he was saying that like the growth is ahead of schedule.
Yeah, they're on forecast.
And so this is one thing that's pointing to like that schedule being ahead of that schedule. Excuse me.
We say it every week. They are about to announce expansion teams at any moment.
I don't know how it hasn't happened yet, frankly.
Yeah. 3 Winter Olympians, Alyssa Liu, Hillary Knight, and Chloe Kim, headline Time Magazine's 100 Most Influential People list.
Yeah, I didn't really explore the rest of the list. I'm sure there's other athletes there, but that was pretty cool, especially considering the clout that those 3 kind of brought from a media attention, storyline, all that kind of stuff throughout the Winter Olympics.
And WSL is reportedly looking at a calendar shift from spring to fall season to European style fall to spring framework.
This is interesting. So the MLS voted last year to make this change. So the MLS is playing its final season right now in the spring to fall timeline. As you can imagine, the Men's World Cup is this year. And so that season gets super disrupted by that, right? And so the argument is switch the calendar so that we're better aligned with the international major tournaments, right? The Olympics and the World Cup. And honestly, it's doing that in depending on who's hosting, or also the other league that might be playing, right? The NWSL is going to get disrupted this year for the Men's World Cup. The Players Association right now is pushing back on this, and they're kind of arguing that like we don't have the right infrastructure to do this and play really high quality soccer. It's kind of funny. Like
I'm surprised the MLS did this.
So I was thinking that too, and I was like,
Minnesota in February.
Yeah, they had to have made like I don't know how they decided like that was a good move. You think of like European countries, and it's like their climate is so different than ours. It does not get that cold or frozen, frankly, in the months that they play in the majority of the countries that are in that. So that is going to be something to watch. It would be weird to have the 2 leagues opposites.
Yeah.
But also maybe helps potentially with scheduling if you're sharing venues. And then I also think about like the value of the how does broadcast and things like that work into it? Because you were kind of
maybe you could team up on the broadcast a little bit if they somehow were able to.
Well, if they go, but like what's going to be interesting is you have right now they are together, right? MLS and NWSL, they are together. Then they're going to shift away. So I'm wondering, is broadcast going to say, no, we need you to be paired, or it's better for us to be a separate? So it's just really interesting to think about.
Wild. All right, let's get into it. We are going to talk about this women's national team 3-game series against Japan.
Okay, so last week they had played one game.
Yep.
We talked a little bit about that, but just to refresh our memories, that was a 2-1 win in San Jose, California. Goals in that one from Rose Lavelle on
Yep.
her 100th cap,
Yep.
with an assist on that goal from Trinity Rodman. And then Lindsay Heap scored on a goal on an assist from Rose Lavelle. That was Sophia Wilson's first start since October of
Yep.
2024 after having her baby Gigi. She is the 18th
Yep.
mom to play for the national team, which is pretty impressive.
I mean, we talked about it a lot, but let's keep celebrating it. It's
Right.
amazing.
Yeah. And the average caps for these starters was around 56.
Yeah.
So I think if we've been tracking, they had some friendlies in January. I think the average caps was like six or something. And then we played She Believes, and I think it like crept up to like 30 or something like that. And now we're at 56. You had talked about like efficiency coming out of that game. They had 9 shots on goal with 9 shots with 3 shots on goal and 2 goals. It's like a really good ratios across the board. I sort of tracked that through the rest of the games here for us to think through. So talked a little bit about that game. We're gonna kind of group all of this together. So second game was a 0-1 defeat in Seattle, Washington.
Yep.
So this game was played midweek. The weather was horrible. It was pouring down rain in Seattle, like Seattle does. But that did not stop record attendance for a standalone women's game in Seattle. So they had over 36,000 people show up. It was the first time that they had been played in Seattle in almost 10 years. And I also learned that they have never won at Lumen Field.
I saw that, and that is wild to me.
Yeah, I saw that too. I was like, they have to have at least drawn. But then I'm like, they also haven't played there in 10 years. So maybe that's why they don't go back.
I think the next stat also that you have down here was also wild to me, considering what we just talked about in the first game.
The completely different starting 11.
Yes.
Yeah. So Emma decided, hey, I'm testing. I'm working out like how do these teams, pull the recipe together effectively. Completely different starting 11 than she had in the first game. Now, we're going to talk a little bit about this in a second. I'm going to talk about it. These games don't matter.
Yeah.
They do impact your FIFA rating and ranking and things like that. But like at the end of the day, they don't matter.
They impact fans' feels.
They impact feels. And I think I'm going to talk about that because it's important to think about. But she changed the starting 11. We now are at about 24 average cap, so half of what we had in the first game. For reference, just to put it in perspective, within a calendar year, these teams probably play on average like 12 to 15 games.
Yeah.
So when we're talking about, and a cap is getting time in a game, right? So when we're talking about going from 56 to 24, you're talking about years of
3 to 4
experience.
year average versus 1 to 2 year average.
Yes. In the system, in the program, like that sort of thing. So it's significant. Now, the other thing that's interesting about the changing out of the full 11, that has happened only 9 times. Nine
times for your Ferris Bueller fans.
Yes. In U.S. Women's National Team history.
Okay.
Emma has done it 4 times.
So almost half. And she's been there 2 years? 3 years? 3 years?
Close.
It feels like it's been 6 months.
Yeah. She's still. So she came in right before the her 10th game was winning the gold medal in the 2024 Olympics. So 2024. So that was interesting. We saw Claire Hutton wear the armband, one of the youngest I think the youngest captain since like 2001.
2001 is the stat I had.
Something like that. I saw a really sweet, like touching video of Lindsay putting the captain's band on her in the locker room, and I was like, and that is why I know we'll talk about Lindsay heaps. I always say this, her leadership, her grit, like the
Yeah.
way she shows up to lead on a
Yep.
field, I have massive respect
Yep.
for. And people, you can see the respect. You could see
Yeah.
Claire kind of being like, "Oh, this is like,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know." Okay.
I think also just for reference, I believe she was the one who got the $1.1 million transfer. Was that right?
Claire Hutton
In
did,
the
yeah, and then she
NWSL?
just signed an extension on that
Oh,
deal
okay.
for so the transfer fee was $1.1
Yeah,
million
that's
dollars,
right.
and then she signed an extended contract for about 1.2.
Okay.
I believe it was over $1 million.
Yeah.
I know that. So also in this game, just a few quick stats. The U.S. did have 67% of the possession, which defies some of the logic we think of when we play Japan. Usually it's like if you can own the possession, you can beat Japan.
Yep.
To me, like this was just a messy game.
Yep.
When the weather's like that,
Young team.
Yeah. And then we also saw in this game 12 shots total, 5 on goal. So a much lower kind of conversion rate of taking shots to scoring opportunities, essentially. And then finally on this game, we saw Tierna Davidson come back into the lineup. So she subbed in the second half. They actually subbed a lot of their veteran players in the second half. I actually think Lindsay Heaps came close to scoring. I think Sophs came close to scoring, but just couldn't put it past the Nadeshima. So then we move on a few days later, rounding out the series in Commerce City, Colorado.
With snow at the edge of the pitch.
With tons of snow. Like they had to shovel off the field for the game. I think the starting temp at kickoff was 38 degrees. So they won 3-0. We mentioned that in headlines. This was, I had sort of predicted that we were going to see sort of like a best of lineup based on the performances in the first 2 games. I think that's what we got. With the exception of, I don't know if Tierna is quite yet at like best of, but I love that Emma put her in the starting lineup, planned 45 minutes, did that. And then her substitution of Kennedy Wesley looked
amazing. Yeah. I did have that. This felt like the team you expect to see when you turn on the TV, right?
Yeah. I think the interesting thing, they talked a little bit in the broadcast of this game about, why not start Sam Coffey? Like she's probably, but Emma had said, she's like, I haven't seen Lindsay Heaps play with Claire Hutton. And she wanted to see how those two work together. And I got to be honest, I thought it was good. I liked it. I still think Sam Coffey is one of the best sixes in the game right now. Like she just plays that position so well. But I like Claire's got a little bit more of Sam's kind of like a sit down and like anchor the offense. Claire's got a little bit more of a flow and a freeness to how she plays. So plus like fantastic to be building that skill set. Right. At her age. So this was also, I wrote down, this was the center back bonanza. So couldn't score a goal in the first half. I will say maybe the first like 15, 20 minutes was kind of like, what is happening here? Like we look a little rusty. And then it was that second half of the first half, that last 25 minutes or so, where like you started to see the chances and the combination play working out. And I loved that momentum, but you also could sense the frustration. Like the team storyline throughout this year so far has been the national team's inability to convert. Right.
Yeah.
And you had called that out.
Yeah, I did.
Right. And so I think they were like, we're getting the chances. It's just not going in. And I have to imagine that Emma at halftime was like, there's this fine line of you're doing all the right things. But what I heard in some of the post-game press conference was like, you have to have conviction. You have to mean it when you do the right things, right? It's not enough to just do them and kind of go through the motions. You have to want to see the outcome happen. and I just like I love that. I love her.
Yeah,
So
I have a little note about her later too.
yeah. So we did see goals start in the second half there, subbed on Kennedy Wesley to pair with Naomi
Yep.
Girma and center back. That was how they had started the
Yep.
first game. So Tierna came out and almost right away off of a corner kick, you had Naomi Girma
Yep.
scoring her third international goal off of a Kennedy Wesley header back
Yep.
across goal on that corner. And then Wesley scored a goal off of a corner kick from Jaden Shaw. Like just a beautiful finish
Yep.
and like her joy.
She was so excited.
Her joy at scoring that goal was amazing. It was contagious. And then one of the most beautiful goals I've seen in a while, the slip pass from Trin to
through the legs.
Through the legs, but like perfectly angled to beat the defender into running on Rose Lavelle with the perfect finish.
It's like one of those things where you get that perfect pass. You're like, please do not. This is like the best pass you've ever seen. You have to convert.
I'm sure Trinity was thinking that too, because she's, as we talked about a couple of weeks ago, like she's been kind of like, it seemed a little off, but she actually, looking at some of the stats here, like she had a good showing. She had a couple of assists. She created some things. She had some, and I think you mentioned too, like she draws defensive attention, right? Whether she scores or not, like she's playing a role on that field to draw attention. So, those goals were really fun to watch. Just a lot of, and like you could feel, I know we mentioned Wesley's joy, but like you could feel like all of the smiles. And like they were finally like like it's going.
It's interesting. We talked about like the idea that you with like Soph and like Alex Morgan talking about when they became a mother, kind of some of that weight lifted. And I'm wondering if like they finally got to a place just kind of totally different, but like a weight was lifted by starting to score and starting to feel like,
totally.
This is feeling more natural now. Like
we can do
it. Right.
Yeah, exactly. So, going back quick to Rose Lavelle, I said this to Alex when we were prepping for this, is like, we are not talking about the form she is in right now. She's had 10 goal contributions in the last 10 games. And I think you had seen a stat that like prior to,
like 7 out of 9 or 8 out of 10 before that, something like that.
Yeah, she's just, and she looks really healthy. She looks fast. One of the things we were also talking about was like the speed the US has up top.
They were
fast. Crazy with Soph and Trin, and then you add Alyssa Thompson in there. Rose Lavelle is fast in her own right. You throw Giselle coming up the left flank.
Yeah, Emily I think I remember during that game we were just like, why they're so fast suddenly? Like,
right. So, and then in this game, just for our stat trackers out there, we had 15 shots. So what's good is in each game we were generating more shots, which is good. But then 7 shots on goal. Okay. So kind of hanging around that 50%. But then you had 3 goals on 7 scoring chances, right?
All right.
So really good to see.
Pump the volume up a little bit.
Yeah. It's good.
So, I mean, what I was going to kind of bring out here is we talked about Emma and her lab quite a bit. I know she's moved on to kind of the more chef and kitchen analogies here. So I probably should have made it like that. Just some numbers here. 27 different players used across 3 different matches, which is wild.
Yeah.
I think we talked about this already. The full 11 swap in game 2, which was the 9th time in program history. And then just some of those players that we discussed. Kennedy had her first goal and first assists in 45 minutes off the bench. Claudia Dickey looked great. 5 saves in game 1, 3 in game 3, and her 8th clean sheet in 10 appearances.
Yeah.
And then, like we talked about, Claire Hutton, youngest captain since 2001, 3 games, 2 starts, 210 minutes. And then she hit one off the crossbar, I believe, in game 3.
Yeah, she had a laser of a shot in the first half.
And she's 20. Yeah. This is what we have to look forward to on this team, right? Like there's so much depth there. I was going to ask, is this a confidence in depth, or are there gaps that Emma still kind of has to figure out?
So I like the question. I have a couple of different thoughts on it. One, I want to go back to, you commented on the goalkeeper situation, and we had talked about that as like a point to watch that we didn't really figure out like a true number one yet. I think Claudia Dickey made her case pretty clearly here.
Yeah.
Now Fallon Tellis-Joyce, who was kind of who I thought was the front runner, had the short stick on the draw and had to play the rain game, but she looked so uncomfortable the whole, like, whether it was back to her feet or just different saves, like, just didn't look so maybe she was just having a bad day, but I thought Dickey looked poised. I thought she looked like she knew exactly what she wanted to do with the ball when she got it, and then probably that confidence comes through in directing traffic and manning your back line, making sure your defense stays organized, all of those things. Plus, her hands, there were things she was catching that no goalkeeper I know would actually try to catch. Like, we'd parry,
to, like, come down,
or knock it down so we can recover, and she was just catching them. So I really started. I've not really watched a lot of her play. I thought that was good.
I'm gonna ask a question that I'm really not prepared to ask, but I read an article headline today. I didn't get to read the article.
Okay.
It said something to the effect that Emma's maybe not going for a true number one goalie, but almost like a goalie by committee. Do you think there's any realisticness to that? Like,
I think so. Japan did that. Japan played 3 different keepers across all 3 games, and they were all very, very good, right? I think it can be done.
Yeah.
I can see both sides. So there is different keepers have different skill sets. So depending on the opponent you're playing, it's nice to have it in your back pocket of like, hey, I need a really good distributor of the ball in this game, or I need a really good shot stopper in this game. My personal reaction to that is, I think of all of the positions on the field outside of maybe the center back, consistency and just, again, it's that coach on the field, it's that person who's seeing the game, who understands the tendencies of their own teammates in like a really clear way. I think that helps.
The more you play them, the more you're going to get that.
Yes.
I know what they're going to ask of me as someone in the backfield there.
You can anticipate a little bit more what they're going to do. They're able to anticipate what their teammates are going to do. So I am open to it. I would say after this 3-game window, I don't know how you aren't putting Claudia as the number one.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. But going back to your question. So that was one thing from a depth. I mean, there's depth in that position right now. I think she knows who her starting 11 are.
Yeah, probably.
Coming out of this. Barring some kind of, the only variable I can see there is that center back pairing of, as Tierna continues to get back up to speed. Tierna just brings a very different set of skills than Wesley does.
Yep.
But I think those two were good. We didn't see Tara Rudd in this camp, which was kind of interesting. Clubs, though, Spirit have been struggling, so hasn't been playing well, but she's had some time back there. But I mean, Wesley looked good in the 2 games that she played in.
Great.
But outside of that, I think she knows her starting 11. I think we've answered the left back position. I think it's Giselle Thompson's position to lose. Her playing there creates so much versatility in the formations and the strategies that they can employ because she's so freaking fast. But I think she will want to continue to test that depth, because you don't win a World Cup with 11 players.
Yeah.
You win a World Cup with 23 players, or maybe it's 25. I forget. There's a rule change somewhere in there. And I think what she might want to look at next is, I played sort of the experienced players, then I played the really inexperienced players, then I played mostly the experienced players.
Mm-hmm.
What happens if I mesh those?
Yep.
Does a Lily Johannes look stronger in a game when she's surrounded by a Rose Lavelle and a Sam Coffey, right? Like, does a trying to think of other players now.
Did we see a Moultrie out there?
Yeah, it did. Olivia Moultrie. That's one of them who I was thinking of. Avery Patterson, right? Like, even though I think of the places where she's going to play are probably in that midfield in the top line. I think that back four is set.
Yeah. I think this kind of bleeds into your first point of our next section here. And something I'll say towards the end of our show, but I think Emma Hayes has put on a masterclass in the first however many games we've had this year.
She's the best coach in the modern era. Yeah. I'm just going to say it. I don't, there's nothing she's doing that you can't, like, she brings, and the thing that she does is she like brings people along for it. Yeah. And kind of like helps you understand like why. So what I was going to say is there's nothing that she's doing that you can really point a finger at and say like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And so a couple of things that really have stood out to me. Can we talk about how uncomfortable it probably was to go into that second game knowing it was more possible that they could lose and accept that might be the outcome.
Yeah.
But it was worth it to test the young pool of talent that she has available to her in a program that expects to win.
Don't like losing.
I was looking at the FIFA website today while I was prepping for this, and they have this cool thing where you can look at each team and their FIFA rankings, and they can go back like 30 years.
Yeah.
Like there's a thing, and it's a cool little like graphic. So the graph for the US, I'm making hand signals for those listening on podcast, but for the US, the y-axis is, and it goes down, is like 1, 3, 5. So they've never been ranked lower than 5.
Wow.
Do you know how many years the line just ran flat at 1? So
20,
many years.
20 at least.
Yeah. So the reason why I'm bringing that up is that this is a program that is expected to win. And I've talked about it here on the podcast before. We get all antsy when they lose one game. When they allow a goal, we get mad.
Not friendly.
Right? And so for Emma to sit back and say,
we might lose this one.
They're there. I have a plan.
Yeah.
Trust me.
Yep.
And now I'm like, okay. You have a plan.
Yeah.
I trust you.
I think there's a great video out there too on socials of her talking about, maybe it was to the team or whatever after the game.
Yes,
it was
post-game
really
huddle.
good. So maybe we'll try to repost that. It's really good.
Yeah. So and the other thing, just one more thought on this part. She had players sitting on her bench that she knew she could put into that game earlier and probably pull
win.
out a result, at least a draw.
Yeah.
Right. And she didn't do it.
Yep.
And we have to appreciate her willingness to sit in the discomfort of that, to allow the process to work, and to allow her players to sit in that discomfort, and to tell her players like, no, we can lose a game. We're okay.
And I think the other thing that people might not realize is it's not like she threw this team out there and said, let's see what happens. They still fully prepped. Like this was a regular game, right?
Well,
like they didn't just throw them out there to the wolves and say, go at it.
Yes. And what I love about it, so to be clear, we've talked about this before on the podcast, that next 11 for the U.S. women's national team would be a starting 11 for most countries.
Nations,
So we're not talking about slouches. These are very, very good players. But she knew against the quality of Japan that like that was a risk.
Yeah.
They could have won, and that would have been awesome.
It would have been great.
Right? And great for their confidence.
Better that they lost, right? Like you learn things in losing.
But the other thing that's genius about this is Emma's signaling, okay, I don't care about this game right now.
Yep.
I care about winning a World Cup in a year.
Yeah.
I also care about winning a World Cup in 5 years.
Yeah.
Right? That is what that signal is sending, because she is putting the armband on the 20-year-old Claire Hutton, knowing Claire Hutton is going to be captaining this team
2031
in 2031.
Yeah.
Right. And that is, I've never seen that before.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I just haven't seen it at this level. Right. To do it on the stage in the spotlight she's doing it in is incredible. Okay. The other thing that I wanted to talk about was just like this. I wrote down mindset. I don't think that that's really the right word, but it builds on this idea of like getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. We quoted Kara Lawson, the Duke women's basketball coach and Team USA basketball coach, a couple weeks ago, as like,
do hard better, right?
Do hard better.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's kind of what Emma's doing here. She's saying do hard better. One of the things that was very apparent in these games against Japan was that the team was coached to build out of the back. They were possessing. They were not just clearing the ball. It was let's keep it. Let's work it up through the midfield, and then we break. If you've watched the national team long enough, the U.S. has typically won on being faster and more athletic than most of the teams that they play, and stronger and taller, frankly. It was a lot of like long ball up, chase, own it, not really counter-attacking, but more of like that's just we're attack, right? And so to see her ask for that patience, you could almost tell the players are uncomfortable with it and they want to go. Right? But then you see a game like the third one against Japan and they see how it pays off, right? We're going to build, and now this is going to open up channels. It's going to open up lanes for our speed to now take over. And I was talking to a friend at work about this, and he made a really good point. He was like, the speed is always there. No matter how the ball comes out of the back, your players are always fast.
But the skill to get it there.
Yes, and get it there in the right way at the right time. So I love that she's changing the style of play. She's really leaning into, I think, a lot of what she learned when she was coaching over in Europe with Chelsea. You see a lot of like kind of Spanish influence with that kind of possession and little passes and like keeping the ball. And we saw results, right? Like they outpossessed Japan, I think, every game. They didn't get the win in the second, but they won the other two. So I love that. Her whole Michelin star restaurant analogy was really interesting. But again, I think of how Emma makes her approach relatable to the layperson who's listening or avid fan like me. And I love how she does that. And then the last thing I want to comment on is just her mission to connect with her players, with her staff, with the press, with the people in the city that she goes to. We saw so many just like adorable videos of her with Gigi, Sophia Wilson's daughter. And like, not just like, oh, cute baby. It's like, she's bringing her in. She's like making her a part of the thing.
Exactly.
The TikTok dances, and she like bombs the videos of the girls. She likes to go get manicures, and so she'll like invite players to go with her to get manicures. And she does. It's so, I love it because it seems so surface, like, oh, she's just really nice. Like, no, she is building trust in relationship so that when she makes these players feel uncomfortable, they say, okay.
We talked about that in the NCAA, like in the Final Four with some of those.
Corey Close.
Yeah, Corey Close. And the other, there's another coach we saw yelling. Was that Corey Close yelling at her?
Oh, Brenda Freese.
You don't get that type of coaching without the relationship. So she's building in like this relationship, so she can, if she needs to be tough with them or tell them what they don't need to hear, whatever it is, and it's not coming from a coach that doesn't have that connection. It's coming from someone that
cares.
Yes.
That cares. Yeah. So and then I think the other part that I'll add is like all of the players they rave about her. They talk about how fortunate they feel to be playing at the time that she is coaching this program. And she just seems like somebody who's very intentional about how she shows up. I love how she always posts little videos of like doing her workouts. Like she knows how important that is. But so smart and like fiercely competitive, but like builds for the, I love it so much.
It's going to be a good long ride, I think.
I hope so. I hope so.
All right. What do we got next?
We are going to round this section out with just the remaining kind of what to expect for international soccer before we talk a little bit about WNBA here. Right. So there's a few remaining international windows this year. Early June, they don't have these scheduled, or they're not public yet, but they'll play 2 matches in early June. Then in early October, they have another 2 matches. I think because of the men's World Cup, I don't think there's something in between there. That feels like a long break, but I don't think there is. And then their qualifiers for CONCACAF, the federation that the U.S. plays in, will be in late November, early December.
All right.
Real quick rundown for the 2027 World Cup, which is what we're preparing for here. So there are 8 teams of 32 that have already qualified. That's the host nation, Brazil, and then the Asian Federation basically has done all of their qualification. So that includes China, the Democratic Republic of Korea, People's Republic of Korea, the Korean Republic. I assume this is North and South Korea.
DPR is going to be North.
Anyway. Japan, well, I knew that, but I meant Japan, Australia, the Philippines, and then New Zealand is the single qualifier out of that Oceania Federation. So kind of got that part of the world covered.
Figured out.
Still to come. So UEFA, that's the European Federation. They have 11 direct slots. We already talked about how 4 teams will qualify for those. And then an additional 7 will come out of that, like, extra pool play. They also get 2 playoff spots. So every federation gets 2 playoff spots. There will be a playoff tournament played early next year. That will contribute 3 spots to the World Cup. So you can imagine you're putting, I think, 12 teams in there and top 3 go.
Coming out of 3, So
that's UEFA 11 slots, 2 playoff slots. The African Federation, they play their tournament now. Remember, it was supposed to be in March. They moved it. And that is now slated to be played in July. They get 4 direct slots, 2 playoff slots. We have CONMEBOL, which is the South American Federation. And so that's 3 direct slots, 2 playoff slots. Reminder that Brazil is one of those direct slots already. So they only get 2 more direct. And then CONCACAF, which is where the US, Canada, Mexico, etc. Costa Rica, Jamaica, Haiti, like all of that. 4 direct slots, 2 playoff slots. So lots of qualifiers to come. Most of this should wrap up by the end of the year, and we'll have that World Cup picture kind of painted for us. But like we talked about with like the European Federation, like any chance to early qualify. You want to do
100%. All right, let's move it on. WNBA preseason. I think we've got some teams to watch here. Go ahead. Let's go for it.
We do. There's a lot still to kind of shake out in preseason. So teams sign extra players. They kind of run them through training camp. There's a lot of preseason games. I was looking at the schedule today. I was like, geez.
I was like, it starts in April. Training camp starts in April. May start for the beginning of the season. It's like so many games to try and fit into that. I don't even know how they have training camp.
Right. Yeah. It essentially becomes scrimmages starting on Saturday. So suffice to say, it's hard to know, but I did want to, now that we've sort of buckled down draft and the free agency thing and that sort of stuff, I picked some what I called scary contenders. Like I would not want to play these teams. So Las Vegas Aces, I mentioned before, reigning champions. They re-signed Jackie Young, Chelsea Gray, Asia Wilson, Jewell Loyd. They have I was looking at their roster. They have a couple of rookies, right? A couple of
Yep.
folks from this last college season, but a lot of vets. So that tells me they've got experience coming off the bench. And then they've got Becky Hammond, who's a Hall of Fame head coach. Like, she knows what she's doing.
For any converts, she assistant coach most previously for the Spurs.
Yes, under Greg Popovich. Yeah. And so that team is always, you got to watch that team. Yep. They're gonna be so good. New York, they re-signed Brianna Stewart, Sabrina Ionescu, and John Cole Jones. Yep. So they're like core 3. They are 70-16 when those 3 play in a game together.
Yeah, that's crazy.
They also signed Satu Sabali from the Phoenix Mercury in free agency, and they re-signed Leonie Fibic, who was a core part of their kind of playoff run championship 2 years ago. What I wonder about them is I question their depth. They're also going to have a new head coach. So Sandy Brondello was sort of dismissed after they didn't make it as far into the playoffs as after winning the championship.
Yeah, after winning the championship,
But now she's with Toronto Tempo, so we're going to be watching them. But I wonder about the depth of their roster.
The stat that I had written down was those 3 have 234 minutes over 15 games in 2025 due to injury.
Yeah. And so that's why
high record, but
that's why I question the depth is like, can those 3 stay healthy enough?
Yeah.
And then if they get hurt or just if they need a rest, right? Like, what do you have coming off the bench?
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And then my third team here, we've talked about this, Dallas, like their roster looks really good. Does the roster convert into play on the court? I don't know yet, but you've got Paige Beckers, Arika Gumbawale. You've got Alana Shepard.
Yep.
You've got, Alana Smith. And Jessica Shepard.
The 2 of them mixed together formed one player.
On my sheet, it says Lan and Shep. So I just merged them. They just signed Alicia Clark, who's like a super vet. She's won multiple championships, 13th year in the league, I think. And then I was looking at their roster too. I wrote this down as like unrivaled impacts, but they've got a bunch of players that like played an unrivaled, have maybe some of that like chemistry from that. But Maddie Siegrist, I remember her looking really good in Unrivaled. And then Isaiah James, she was like a huge disruptor in Unrivaled. Now, 3v3, 5v5, different game, whatever. I can take that argument. And then obviously AZ.
Yeah, it's gonna be like really fun watching those first 5 or so games to see what's going on there.
Yes.
And I think their first game, like regular season, is against Caitlin Clark's Indiana Fever. So
got that on our list down here. So those are 3 teams that I would say we got to be watching for, see how they actually perform.
Yep.
Honorable mention for me, the Sparks look solid. They've got Kelsey Plum, Nneka Agumake, Cameron Brink. They had a couple other
hurt last year. I think so. She's coming back from that.
And then Minnesota. Yeah. I trust in Cheryl.
I put this down as like biggest question, highest ceiling when Fee returns.
Yeah, she's been really leaning into the international talent. You were telling me about one of their signees who's like a superstar over in Germany or wherever she's from. And so that'll be, obviously we'll be watching.
We'll be watching them, yeah.
And then I don't really know how these are going to land.
Yeah.
But there's potential.
Yeah.
That something could happen. So Washington's Spirit, NWSL. Washington Mystics, they are a young team, but they are stacked with talent. Their draft class, you guys, is crazy. They got Lauren Betts.
That's right. They had like 5 picks.
Angela Jugulich. I can never say her name. They took Rory Harmon from Texas, who's an incredible point guard. And then there were a couple others that I'm losing my brain power right now, but that will be, I'm curious.
Yep.
We have Atlanta. Angel Reese went to Atlanta. Lots of star power. You've got Alicia Gray. You've got Ryan Howard. Can they click?
Yeah, my note is, can Angel Reese kind of actually like find her groove in a new team?
Yes, in an environment,
better environment. Yeah,
she feels supported in. Exactly. We have the Fever. Obviously, what's interesting about the Fever, you've got Kelsey Mitchell, who's incredible, right? You got Aaliyah Boston, who's a force. And then we haven't like really seen Caitlin play in over a year.
Yeah, she was hurt for a while.
She got hurt kind of mid-season, but it was also like I feel like it was on and off before that. Yeah. And so I'm really curious to see her play.
Yeah.
Like it
will be interesting.
Feels like it's been a while. Toronto, we mentioned. I think for them, they signed a bunch of more veteran players. You've got Sandy Brondello, as we mentioned, championship winning head coach. But I think we've seen this like with the PWHL, just like the momentum and the environment that might kind of like Golden State did last year. Just like people love it. They want to be there. They're supporting it. I'll be paying attention to that for sure. And then Golden State. Yeah. I think they're sneaky. They kind of flew under the radar, but when I look at their roster, it looks strong. They obviously have all of that support out there. I love Natalie Nakase, their head coach. Yeah. Head coach of the year last year. Yeah. Or coach of the year. So yeah, that's what I'm looking at.
What I was kind of looking at here is I don't want to bring up like CBA discussion again here. I think we're going to maybe get into it a little bit though. This is the 30th season for this league, which is a huge milestone. There's a really cool video out there about goats. So check that out. 15 teams now. We've got 15 teams. Pretty amazing. Expanded. You have 5 ways to watch. We have NBC, USA, Prime, CBS, and ESPN. My note is you have to try to not watch the WNBA at this point.
I think that's right.
And I think it's hilarious that we still get jokers in the comments of our videos saying the same line from the NBA of the WNBA is floated by the NBA. And for some reason, that line said by the organization that doesn't open its books is just taken as gospel. And I'm like, we're in the 30th season. Do you think they would keep them around if they just kept losing money all the time? There's benefit.
There's some benefit
to this
somehow
league.
There.
And so I don't think people are putting it together. They just hear they don't make any money. So why are they still around? It's like, well, yeah, why are they still around? Do you think maybe they are making money? Why would it be around for 30 years? Here we are.
Right. Yeah. And I think like we had one comment that was more thoughtful, I would say, around expansion and things like that. And we agree with expanding responsibly, so to speak, right? We understand the economics of like you grow too fast. Yeah. You run the risk of having to get rid of franchises, which has happened in the WNBA and the NBA. Yeah. Right. And so we understand that, but I think where we come from is like, to Alex's point, we don't really trust the source material.
Yes, exactly.
Because it's never been shared in full. And I think you ask a great question of like, well, why are they still here then? Yeah. And then, you know, you've got Kathy saying like, oh, we always wanted to be able to like pay the players the way we're going to be paying them, which tells me like you could have.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Oh man, let's not go down the rabbit hole of her weird press conferences.
I mostly wanted to bring this up to get a really cool clip for Instagram to get some of the jokers wound up in the comments.
Yeah. The other thing is like clearly you're engaging with it somehow because it's coming across your feed.
Yeah, exactly.
So
we don't come across your feed unless you're talking about women's sports or you're thinking about it.
Right.
So
somehow. So we appreciate all of you.
Yeah, we do.
All of you. All right. Getting into the regular season. So the regular season will start on May 9th. May 9th. Thank you. Like Alex said, that first game is going to be a battle of the last 2 rookies of the year. Yep. Actually 3, because Aaliyah Boston's on the Fever too.
Oh yeah, that's right.
She's just sneaky. Last, I'll say, oh wait, was she a number 1 draft pick? I think they're just all together.
All there.
She just signed one of those epic rookie contracts, by the way. Like one a 6 point.
Gotta go back and like up it. Yeah.
So that's going to be on May 9th between the Dallas Wings and the Indiana Fever. Definitely be tuning in for that game. And then I just put down a couple more just to sort of test my theories, right, that I had of the teams to watch just in May, right? Obviously, the season goes until September. So we have a rematch of the Western Conference Finals between Minnesota and Phoenix on May 12th. Now, I think the big lingering question for the Lynx is, will Fee be playing, right out the gate? And I gotta say,
sounds like she probably
all the training videos I've seen from preseason camp, she is not in them. So we've got Chicago versus Golden State. Now I penned this in because Golden State's just like that scrappy whatever, they're doing their thing. Chicago has, I just need to see them on the court.
Yeah.
They've got a lot of talent, a lot of personality.
And the free agency felt like a hot mess. Like, what's happening right now?
So this is on May 13th. Then on May 17th, I listed 2 games. We have the Toronto Tempo against the Los Angeles Sparks, so a little bit more established franchise against that new one, but both teams that I think are worthy of our eyeballs right off the bat. And then also on the 17th, we've got the Las Vegas Aces tipping off against the Atlanta Dream. Right. So, Angel Asia going at it down there. And then the next day, May 18th, again, we're getting out a little bit here, but testing out that Washington Spirit youth against whatever the Dallas Wings are putting forth. And then rounding out my list here is a game on the 21st between the Liberty and Golden State. So
these will be good games.
Right. And like Alex said, no excuse to not be tuning in.
Watch them everywhere.
The different it's like 5 channels.
It's 5 channels. It was 5 channels.
So we are really looking forward to that. I will be watching the preseason games to sort of see how they're going to be doing a lot of lab work, a lot of
for sure
recipe testing the next couple of weeks.
We'll talk about it here too. We're gonna jump into what to watch. We're gonna talk that PWHL 4 spot again for the last time until we'll talk about who wins it
next week.
It might be won by tomorrow, but we'll see. So we have 2 games for each of these 3 teams left. Ottawa is at 39 points, Toronto at 37, and New York is at 34. So the math here is that Ottawa can just win out, seal it up. Toronto can win 1 if Ottawa loses 2. No. New York has to win 2 with Ottawa and Toronto losing out.
Oh, okay. So they're
So tomorrow you'll be listening to this. It'll be last night. Toronto will have played New York, so we'll know if New York is eliminated or not. Then we have Ottawa versus Boston on Wednesday at 6:00. Toronto versus Ottawa Saturday, the 25th at 1 p.m. Central, and then New York. I put New York versus Boston Saturday the 25th at 11 a.m. I accidentally put New York versus Saturday. It might be New York versus Saturday at that point. We'll keep an eye on that. Could end tomorrow for New York, but then still kind of a battle between Ottawa and Toronto the rest of the week.
I kind of love this. I kind of love that
when it goes down to the wire.
Yeah, they're literally going to have to play to the end.
Yes.
To figure out who's going to get that last spot. And I think it speaks to obviously we had incredible, Montreal Victoire, so really freaking good. Frost are obviously good. The Boston Fleet has been really impressive this season, but there's some parity there, right?
Yeah.
There's kind of those 3 competed all season long, kind of trading blows back and forth. And then the next 3, and then you had the expansion teams.
Yeah, then if you look at another expansion this year or next, you have 1 or 2 spots opening up probably for playoffs, which is going to make it even more fun.
Right.
Probably into the end of next season.
Yeah, I agree. So, and then, keep in mind too, I know we don't see these games on the schedule, but even for Seattle and Vancouver, they're playing for that golden draft points or whatever that system is.
Yep.
So,
all right, WNBA preseason, Fever versus Liberty on Saturday at 2 p.m. Central. Caitlin Clark versus that new look roster with the Liberty.
So part of me is like, I'm so conditioned by watching NFL football. I'm like, are they even going to have the starters in?
Oh yeah. They're going to have to.
I don't know. Part of me is like, I just don't know. Like you'd think because all the teams feel very new.
Yeah.
You're not like returning to exactly the same team. No one's returning to exactly the same team that they played on last year because free agency was such a hot mess. But I don't know. It's going to be.
You might have to have them out there just to get the chemistry going in a game situation.
And also, like, I would want to be playing.
Yeah.
But I'm again so conditioned by the NFL. It's like the starters don't play in these games. So
then we have 7:30 that night. We have Seattle Storm versus Golden State Valkyrie. Seattle Storm with the Flauge is over there.
She's like been releasing tracks.
Oh yeah,
rap track. I think she might be having an album come out.
I saw a thread the other day. She's like, I have not taken off this hat since draft night.
Oh my god!
And it's like, well, to be fair, you put it on a little bit later than your normal pick was. But yes, that's awesome.
Right. That's right.
And then on Thursday next week we have the Indiana Fever versus Dallas Wings.
That's kind of funny. They're gonna play a preseason game and then turn around and play a regular season game. So like a week later.
That'll be fun to watch. AZ and Paige kind of see how that works out.
Yeah, I did, going back to Flauge really quick, just random for our audience. I saw a video of her. She went into the Seattle Torrent locker room.
Oh,
like got out there
amazing.
And like went in, met the hockey players. She traded jerseys with Hillary Knight.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so she's gonna be one of those like bigger than the franchise personalities, which was partially why we talked last week about why Chicago might have traded her.
Yep.
Because they don't seem to like that. They just were like, let's get 4 personalities.
One mega personality.
We'll talk about that at some point. I'm sure they will provide content.
Endless entertainment. And then we have NWSL's back. I only called out one game here, but we have 2 games Friday evening, 4 on Saturday and 2 on Sunday. The one I got called out here is Gotham versus Bay, Saturday at noon.
Right.
CBS, nationally televised. So easy to watch. Everyone can watch it.
You can catch Rose Lavelle, Emily Sonnet. Yes, homework.
Homework for everybody.
Watch the game.
Everyone watch that game.
Rose Lavelle, Emily Sonnet, Jaden Shaw. You
whole
got
bunch
the
of
whole
them.
crew on the Gotham, and then good old 20-year-old captain Claire Hutton.
Yeah, right there
on Bay FC.
All right, that's all I got for what to watch.
Feels solid.
Yeah, it's a good weekend.
WNBA is back.
It's back. Finally, we didn't know if we were going to have a season when we started this podcast.
Still haven't
16 weeks ago.
Emailed Kate back.
So
sorry,
we'll
Kate.
get there.
I promise I will email you.
Getting to games with kids is not an easy task if you have season tickets. All right, winners and losers. Losers. What do you got?
I'll just be really honest. Losers are the internet, social media.
Yeah.
So I don't know, people pay attention to our social media, but we started posting more clips. And so inevitably you get more comments. And we had some really unfortunate,
disgusting comments.
And that really kind of hit me hard. And I know it comes with the territory, but it doesn't change the fact that it
the shock to the system.
Yeah, that's really like the best way to put it. Like it shocked me.
Yeah.
And it's weird because like I see it all the time.
Yeah.
But it's never directed at me.
Yeah.
And now it's been directed at us, and it hurt.
Yeah.
But we are new to this and kind of getting our bearings on like how do we navigate through that. But I think I go back to like when we talked about the US men's hockey team and the women's hockey team and the locker room jokes and things like that, right? And when we were talking about that, we just kind of generally were like, we need to just treat people with more respect.
Everyone.
Whether it is in person, which usually that tends to happen more, or online. Like, people are impacted by your words.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I just think that we all find kind of like comfort in hiding behind a screen to say things that like you would never say to somebody's face. So that's my loser.
Yeah. All right.
The internet.
Mine is the Lynx. And hold on for a second.
Uh-oh.
Mostly as a victim of their own success.
Oh, this is a good. This
right? Because
yes,
we had such a good team. We have developed so many good players, and then the CBA that we all wanted comes, and it's like, okay, you guys all have to leave now because we can't pay you what you deserve. So it's good to see them get their bags, but just kind of a bummer of the losses that we had from free agency.
Yeah, I think somebody had mathed out, like, if they kept all those players and paid them what they're getting paid,
double the salary cap or something ridiculous
like I think it was like 80% of it or something.
Oh,
okay. It for 1 year, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like you can't pay, like, now you don't have.
That's 80% over like 5 players.
Yes, to be clear, like, you don't have a team.
No, yeah.
So that is understandable, and good for those players to go get, what they can where they can. But yes, it will be interesting to see how the season plays out.
Yeah. Winners?
I'm trying really hard to think of another one other than what
we can just say ours together at the same time.
Reaction.
Right?
This is like Emma Hayes. I just like she brings so much just like joy. Again, I use that word. But like deep expertise.
Yep.
Not just on the game she coaches, but on people.
Yep.
Like, she is a relational master. If you haven't listened, she has a book out there. She changed the title. Used to be something about unicorns. But it's incredible
it's a great book.
To listen to how she talks. She does not just think about constructing a team. She thinks about constructing a program.
Yeah.
She understands that every person involved, from the coaching staff to the training staff to the support staff for the stadium, like things like that, like all of that goes into success in football and any sport probably. And I'm like, I want to be you when I grow up.
Yeah. I just have that. It's a masterclass in coaching this year so far.
Yeah.
Like, she took that loss, but now she knows what she has. Like, she has so many, just such a wide view of what she has right now and where to plug people in. And she'll keep doing some things, but she knows exactly what she has now and where to plug them in. It's going to be so cool to watch them, I think, succeed over the next, hopefully, year and a half. At
least. Yeah. So, okay, good. Same page on that one. Emma Hayes Stan account.
We'll change this
forever
to
and ever.
Emma Hayes Power Hour.
My dream would be to interview her.
Yeah.
I'll manifest it today on this episode.
All right. I think that's it for today.
That's it. Where can they find us?
Yeah. RTG_pod on Instagram and Threads, YouTube, rtgpod.com, and Raising the Game on Substack.
All right. Till next week.
Thanks for being here.
Bye.
Bye.